as we said, it's time for the calendar to give you a good look where we are tonight. Um, as I said, it's round 6. In-game date is the 22nd of July. We are racing in the middle of the day, middle of the afternoon. Basically, it's 3 p.m. and it's beautiful weather. It's only light clouds throughout the whole race. And I'm happy to be your host and guide you through the race. If you're in the chat, feel free to ask me some questions, as I will try to answer them as good as I can. So yeah, as I see, the qualifying has just started, and I think it's time to switch over to the live screen. Yeah, here we are at beautiful Sugo. It's a very tight track. I will guide you through the track. Basically, to be honest, just now, as you can see, it's a very tight track. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, as you can see now, it's a very tight track with very narrow corners. Basically, only, yeah, I think one or majorly two overtaking spots. We will have a clean race with all the drivers here at the tier, as there is no rain forecasted, there is no fog as we had last week. It will be really good race to watch, very competitive actually, and I think we will start following our mate chaos theory through the lap, through one of the laps. Yeah, so I'm switching to the onboard camera and taking the chase cam as we go into turn 1, actually turn 2 now. Second gear for the Cadillac, third gear, very fast left-hander, coming up to an uphill, very slow corner where you can actually go in first gear, and then there's a very tight chicane where you can hop on the sausage curbs on the left and on the right to make sure to maximize your lap time and your speed. Then there's a double right-hander. The second right-hander is very important for your straight lane speed, as we're coming up now to the back straight, putting up full throttle. I think we're not quite reaching 6th gear in the Cadillac, so yeah, it's a very hard braking point at the end of the straight. Very good overtaking spots with the banked right hand hairpin. Then a double left leading onto basically the worst corner I ever experienced myself, as you will melt down your left front tire like crazy. It's a very long left-hander, and we will watch throughout the race how people adjust their lines to keep the tires cold. So yeah, coming up the line, it's a 1:19.4 for Chaos Theory, which is the first time we have. It's already beaten. Oh, it's already smashed by Moo, our championship leader, with a 1:16.9 actually. Going off track, I think he will go back to the pits. Yes, he is. So let's have a look who's on track as well. It's Detox in the other Cadillac. He just started his lap, as it looks like. Yeah, so let's have a look at Wheezy, our second place man in the championship. So speaking of the championship, I will give you a quick roundup of the championship standings after round 5. So there we have it. It's actually Moo leading the championship with a commanding 5 wins in 5 races, followed by Wheezy, 38 points behind. And we will see if anybody of these guys is able to beat Moo tonight, because this will be the main question. Is there anybody who can actually beat Moo? So in third place, it's I'm an Eagle, who missed last week's race, but will be back tonight, as we do have a full grid, as you probably saw, with 12 drivers. I will go through the drivers very quickly. Nolly is back in P4, hoping for a bit of better luck this time, as he had a crash in Le Mans, and as well I think 2 crashes in the opening lap last week in Zhuhai. So let's see if he's able to have a clean race tonight. TM Chaos Theory in the Cadillac is in P5 in the championship standings. Again, for the newer viewers who weren't there last week, they switched the car. It's actually Chaos Theory and Detox. They switched the car after round 2, so they got their points basically cut it from the first 2 rounds. So they started the championship basically at round 3. Yeah, Chaos Theory with some very good results. In the meantime, in the Cadillac, being 3rd in Catalonia, 5th in Le Mans, and 4th in Zhuhai, despite having quite some problems in these last 2 races. And yeah, let's have a look at the other drivers. It's Coppernuts in the Ferrari, it's Mr. Ruffem-Up in the Lamborghini, LGS in the Mercedes AMG, and Kingchip in the teammate from Mr. Ruffem-Up in the other Lamborghini, who had a very strong race, as well as Mr. Ruffem-Up last week in Zhuhai. Then it's Detox with a very unfortunate race last week, so yeah. P11 in the championship is Mr. Reim from Schleim.
Audio levels and everything are all looking good in terms of the stream. The guys are obviously coming out on track, trying to bang in some lap times, and at the moment Benazili is the man on pole with a 1:17.4. He's currently sat in the pit lane, having returned to his garage. But only 0.05 of a second is Mr. Van Orman in second place at the moment. Jardier currently holding a provisional P3. He's out on a flying lap. His current lap time is a 1:17.478. As you can see, also only 0.05 of a second off of Benazili's, well, now Wolf's lap time. He's actually gone a good 9/10 of a second quicker than the other guys. Yeah, so a substantial difference there in lap time.
Wolf showing us how it's done once again in the black and red Lamborghini. Struth alive, nearly a full second. Sugo is not a particularly long track, but it is one that is very twisty. There's Conor McCoy getting potentially in Benazili's way. The lemon-scented Merc is either going to have to jump past Conor McCoy or going to hold back there. It's not really going to serve them any good being that close to one another. And through he goes then as Conor McCoy jumps out of the way. They're on that... There's 2 straights, such as they are. They're not particularly long. They're on the back stretch at the moment. So going through horseback corner. And again, a lot of sliding action going on the tail, as previously mentioned. And then next 2 left-handers. So you can just see how Benazili literally just throws the nose in and hopes that it sticks. And the double apex right-hander, 110R corner, and then the final corner. Will we be able to ride on board with a hot lap with Benazili? Let us see.
Yep, so he's just coming across the start-finish line now to begin what is hopefully a flying lap. Getting hard on the brakes into turn 1, really chucking it in. The car breaking away a little bit from him. Didn't really get into the apex for the first time, but managed to hook it up for the second. Turn 3 is just a slight breathe on the throttle before chucking it in, and then getting hard on the brakes for this tight hairpin of turn 4. And trying to focus on the traction coming out the exit. The chicane should be completely flat out, absolutely hammer the curbs, going through both apexes before spotting your braking point for this medium speed right-hander, which leads into a second, which is fairly similar but slightly slower, but which leads onto that long back straight. So the drivers get a short moment to take a few deep breaths, recuperate, and then try and spot that 100-meter braking board on the left-hand side and getting hard on the brakes down into second or third gear for the long hairpin. Nice smooth run there from Benazili. This left-hander should be just a slight breathe on the throttle again, using that exit curb to your advantage. Again, taking a lot of speed through the final left-hander before we come into this very long right-hander, which comes uphill, which adds kind of to your favour. You can get on the power a little bit earlier as the suspension will compress down and give you that extra little bit of mechanical grip and allow you to accelerate and come up across the start-finish line to complete a lap. And Benazili doesn't improve on his lap time from what I saw.
Indeed he did not, but a couple of people have. Panteras jumped up into second with a 1:17.019, just shy of half a second off the back of Wolf, and some random tramper's got himself a pit lane penalty. So, a grid penalty. He's sped in the pit lane, I think. That's kind of McCoy. Looking at the wrong car. Yes, pit lane violation. He's been a little bit too eager to get off the pit lane limiter, I dare say. So he will start one grid slot below where he qualifies. But still very close. Jardier has improved a little bit, 17.073, so still chasing that top spot. A few people. Oh, that's quite a few people close to one another. Scott, Dor, and Inky Chris, I think, is in there. Oh no, wrong Lamborghini. Who's the other? Is that Chloe? Yep. Oh wow, closed door is being hounded by the Nissan of Scott. I'm still amazed that the Nissan is seeing the light of day. That thing's lively at the best of times, and they seem to be running very loose here comparatively. So that must feel like rally crossing.
Yeah, definitely. With that thing sliding around, I'm actually surprised how long it's taken Dor to get out of the way of Scott, as I believe that it was Scott who was on a lap and Dor just kind of was recovering from an incident earlier on, so that would have impeded Scott unless he was on an out lap, which he probably wouldn't have minded, and he's got himself a bit of space to Chloe in front, so now he'll be beginning his flying lap, as that was quite a nice camera shot there on the inside of the final turn. So he's on the run out of that final corner now. Wolf is still holding that provisional P1 with the mid 1 minute 16. And Chloe's just jumped to the pit, so Scott's got even more space up in front of him, providing that no one else is coming out of the pit lane. He should be all good, but that's quite a big twitch there between turns 1 and 2. And again, slightly sideways on the exit of that second turn. Jumping on board in the cockpit view. A little bit of understeer there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I dare say we're going to see a lot of opposite lock going on in this Nissan. There's another little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a little bit. That's Jardier in the distinctive Hot Wheels Merc, a little bit further up the road. Oh, and Scott's doing that one. What's Wolf up to? He's not content with the 16.5. Wow, he's pushing hard through that final turn. Let's go over the end of a time lap. Let's see what he does.
Could just be doing some race lap practice. I have seen him do it before in qualifying sessions in this kind of case. He usually just chucks in the full race fuel and just starts turning laps, which, fair enough.
No,
he's got quality fuel.
Yeah, that's definitely quality fuel. Let's follow him through his lap then. Let's see if he can improve on that almighty 16.5 he set a little while ago. 5.5 plus change minutes remaining of this quali session. Still plenty of time for our drivers to get out there and get on with the job. Just M-Power in 7th, who's not on track at the moment. We'll see what our drivers can do. Sliding around that next turn, Rainbow Corner as it's otherwise known, back down the hill and through the fairly non-existent backstretch corner, which is there, and then into Horseback Corner. It's quite tricky to pick your braking point for that. A lot of these corners are off camera as well, so it's very, very tricky. Oh, that was a tad overcommitted there, Mr. Wolf, but very entertaining to watch nonetheless. And forgot to hit his brakes before he clunked into the wall. Yep.
Gave it a good shot though. He almost held it. But yeah, just the next corner couldn't come soon enough really. And ended up going round. Pantera, solid second position at the moment. He's doing very well in that Mercedes. In previous seasons he had been running the Porsche 911. For this season he's jumped into the Merc in those green and slightly greeny yellowy colours, and that was a slight mistake there through the chicane, just taking a little bit too much of the sausage curbs on the inside, and that is what can happen in those kind of situations. So the drivers will be wanting to avoid that in the race, because obviously you don't have the luxury of being able to jump back to the pit lane and kind of going again, as it were.
No,
excuse
indeed.
me.
And Van Orman 4th, just a couple of cents off the back of Jardier. That's 17.2. 17.3 is Benazzelli. 17.5 Bo. 18.0 is M-Power. We've got two drivers on 18.0, which is M-Power and Paganmin. And Chloe 18.1, Scott 18.6, Dor 18.7, Inky Chris and Colonel McCoy on 18.9, and some random tramp on 19 at the moment. Oh, it's quite a bit of traffic. A couple of people staying out of the way. Wolf is remaining in the pit along with Conor McCoy. We do have time to get the out laps done. Should they? Well, Conor McCoy's just come out, so Wolf may... oh, Jardier's jumped back to the pits. He wasn't happy with that. It's a bit of a shame. He looked like he was on a pretty solid lap there. Van Ommen. There's other few people returning back to the pits. Bo and Inky Chris have jumped back, so they may well choose to call it a day. No, someone's come back out. Jardier and Bo have both come back out. And so Random Tramp's back in the pits again. So this is, as predicted, this track is catching quite a few people out. And we may well have seen the best laps already set.
May very well have, especially as there's some dirt really starting to build up now with drivers dipping the wheels onto the grass and pulling that back onto the circuit. So there's a couple of places that are just kind of dirtying up and that'll become more slippery. But obviously there'll be something to keep an eye out for the race as well, because obviously we've only got 15 minutes here in this qualifying session. The race will go on for much longer than that, so there'll probably be more dirt build up in the actual race session. But Mr. Van Orman going for another lap, looking a little bit sideways there coming through turn 2, but he's through quite nicely. He's got the fuel to go for one more at least. Quite nicely hooking up the apex there in first gear and then hammering those curbs. A nice ride through that chicane.
Indeed, nicely balanced. Pantera back in the pits again and come back out. 2 minutes to go. They haven't got too long if they're going to get their out laps done. With most of the field still out there, they've got to bear in mind we've seen a few people caught out already with traffic. That's well, and most people in the same part of the track just coming out of the first sector. So that is something our drivers have to bear in mind. If they want to come out to try and set another lap, then they have got to get on with it. Is it me, or has Van Orman hit something? I'm looking at the front of his car thinking that's not quite straight.
Yeah.
Or am I just...
No, there is a little bit of damage.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, but he's clunked into something a little bit solid, so that won't be helping. But it depends on when that damage was caused.
I think there might have been...
Anyway.
Yeah, I think there might have been earlier on, and it's just a case of...
visual only.
Yeah.
No
fourth
improvement.
fastest. Yeah. And
No
that's him
improvement.
done.
Is him done. He won't have time to come out now. Pantera's out there. Wolf will not come back out again. Oh, Dor has got himself a pit lane violation. So one grid penalty for him. Some random champion is already last. So Dor will start one grid slot behind where he qualifies. Pantera, I think, he's either overfueled or he's coming to the end of his outlap. There is Jardier just peeling into the pits. He will start no higher than third with that 17-0 on the board. Pantera, what does he get? Yep, that would be an outlap for him. So he will look to try and get that top spot. Benazili, Bo, well, everybody except for Jardier and Wolf. Van Norman's come back out, but he won't have time to start another lap. He's just having a bit more practice and nothing more. No, never mind. He's back in the pits again. There's Benazili. Where is he on track? He is, well, there. He's coming to the final couple of corners. Let's follow him through the remainder of his lap. The checker flag is out now, so anyone that is on their lap can finish it. No one can start another. What's Benazili going to do? He stayed. I had a feeling he was coming in. Just the way he was very tight to the apex of that final turn. Where's Bo? Bo is coming. He's coming to the end of the second sector. Was Chloe, I think, just ahead of Empower. Does Empower improve? He does not. 118.0 is his best. Starts no higher than 7th. Where's Pagan Min? That is the back stretch. Someone's just about to come over the line. No, they're not. Someone's just coming into the pits. A few cars around here. There's some random tramp in the McLaren. And in the background is Scott. And oh, Scott's been disrupted by somebody. He won't be happy about that. I think it may be Ninky Chris. That was the perpetrator there. Oh, Bo getting very sideways. He's determined to improve. 117.5 is the time he's gone on the board. He's coming through the last couple of turns now. Sliding out as much as he dares. Keeping his foot very much nailed to the floor. Over the crest and a sprint to the line. It's just him and the McLaren of some random tramp out there now. 117.575. Does he improve? No idea. We will see in a minute. I don't think he did.
No.
No, he didn't. and Some Random Tramp also remains where he was. And so your grid is, as you can see.
Yep, so Wolf gets pole position there by a good half a second to Pantera. Jardier starting in third. Mr. Van Ormond starting in fourth with Benazili fifth, Bo sixth, Pagan Min in seventh place, Empower, as we mentioned, starting eighth, Chloe in ninth, Scott in 10th place. Then in 11th is Dor, Inky Chris 12th, Colonel McCoy starts 13th, and Some Random Tramp has invaded the field and will be starting in 14th position.
Indeed. So it is a 46-lap race, including the manual formation lap. So those unfamiliar with the format, we are in the this 2-minute phase where any drivers can make any last-minute adjustments that they're able to do. They'll, of course, remember to get out of their qualifying setups. Well, they can stay in the qualifying setups they want, but they're invariably blow their engine or run out of fuel, or both. So they'll have a setup they will wish to change to. And then we will have a manual formation lap. So the lights will go green, everyone will stay still, and then Wolf will lead the field away for one lap at 80 miles an hour, 120 kilometers an hour, until they get to the formation point, which is around about...
It's the entry to the final turn.
Aha, there we are. So once they get to that double right-hander, they will form the 2x2 line that you can see in front of you. And then once they pass the pit lane entrance, they're in what we refer to as the acceleration zone. So Wolf can floor it to signify the beginning of the race.
Yep, and you can only do that in one motion. He can't go and then kind of stop and kind of dummy the start. It has to be in one smooth motion as to not upset any other drivers and cause potential chaos. So that is the format that we run with AOR. We pretty much do it across all our Project Cars 2 leagues now, as far as I know. Something that's worked very, very nicely. But very, very soon we should be getting into the this actual manual formation lap. We'll get the cars going around. So yeah, here we go. They won't be going off on the green light, and instead, as King Kodiak very kindly explained, they'll be driving around at a reduced rate until that acceleration point.
Well, Wolf's eager to get on with it, so away goes the field then. Wolf in the black and red Lamborghini once again, asserting his authority up front. Pantera in the bright green Mercedes shares the front row with him. Jardier, our previous champion, in the Hot Wheels Merc. Mr. Van Ormond in the black Lamborghini, looking to improve from the second row. The Lemon Merc of Benazili has always been a strong contender in the PC Tier 1 League for GT3. There's Bo in the grey, well, multicolored, but primarily grey Lamborghini. And Pagan Min in the lemon Lamborghini right behind him. Empower, the lead of the Nissans once again, as the field comes down the hill. Chloe in the grey Merc. And the second of the Nissans, Scott really giving it the beans to warm up those tyres. Inky Chris, the lead of the two white and pink Lamborghinis. And his teammate Dor right behind him. Colonel McCoy in the Soul Porsche. I love the fact that we're on board with the Porsche, but I can't hear his engine at all. All I can hear is that McLaren right behind and the scream of the Lambo ahead. And then there is, of course, Some Random Tramp, the sole McLaren representative. So we now are forming up the 2x2 line, exactly as Yorkie said, at the entrance to the final turn. The speed is reduced, as you can see. We will get this race underway when Wolf slams on the gas.
Yep, so we're just coming up towards that acceleration zone. As King Kodiak said, it's any time between the start of the pit wall at the pit lane entry and the actual start-finish line itself. So anytime now, Wolf can put his foot down, and we are underway with round 6 here from Sportsland Sugo. Jardier has immediately got to jump on the inside to Pantera, but Pantera actually holds it around the outside there, retaining that second position. Jardier still in third. Wolf obviously still out in the lead. Mr. Van Ormond in fourth. In 5th position is...
Then side by side, as Yorkie has said, those Nissans have had a cracking start. Wolf was, of course, the one with the advantage as he invariably, or the poleman invariably is, but Jardier had a belting reaction as soon as the Lambo got underway, but unfortunately was not able to capitalize on it. Pantera was able to slam the door and make sure Jardier stayed behind. There is Van Ormond under a lot of pressure from Bo as they come around the final turn to complete the first lap in anger. So the slipstream then is going to play a part, but the straights aren't all that long, so you've got to be very, very close to make any kind of slipstream work. But there's the two Nissans. M Powers had a brilliant start, and that is Pagan Min that is trying to do something about Scott, but can't do it. We've had a couple of people in the pits already. Chloe is in, and Benizili is in. So that's a bit surprising. Have they clunked into one another? No, they just obvious signs of damage.
I think they're just serving their mandatory pit stop. A number of the drivers do like to do this, is try and get that pit stop done and out early, out of the way at the start of the race, especially when you got heavy traffic like this and they're all kind of battling around, and sometimes it's better to just get yourself into clear air, focus on getting the lap times in and trying to make up back some positions that way rather than doing it physically on track.
That makes sense. I'd completely forgotten the fact there was mandatory pit stop in this. Does look like, as we're watching Bo challenging Van Ormond still, Jardier has closed down on Pantera, it seems, as Jardier was a little wide. Nothing too extreme, but kicked him a little bit of grass there. That is not going to help him. And now Pantera has suddenly closed back in on Wolf again. So that's very concertina effect going on in our top three. As you would imagine, Wolf is not running off into the distance as I rather expected him to do, but long way to go yet before we can start to predict what anyone's going to do. But Pantera really in a great position, and Wolf has got himself a penalty already. He's the first one to get a track limit penalty of 2 seconds as well. I didn't see where he did that, so that's could potentially hurt if they stay this close for a long period of time. The McLaren of some random tramp has come in. So another pit stop served. Bo is still with Van Ormond. The two Nissans are still being chased by Pagan Min. Dor, Inky, Chris, and Connor McCoy are beginning to spread out a little bit. The Lambos are keeping each other company, and our early pit stoppers, which are Benizili, Chloe, and some random tramp, are the ones at the tail of the field. Of course, that is going to shuffle up quite a lot as the pit stops fall. But that's the view of the top three, and whilst they kind of, they do have their own strategies to run, you can't ignore the fact that there's cars that close to you, and it does look like for once Wolf might actually have to work for this.
Yeah, you very may well do. Something else that we need to note and actually try and remember is the amount of time that is lost in the pit lane. I believe it's in and around 25-26 seconds from what I can tell from Benizili's pit stop where he came in the first one. So try and keep that in mind for later on when these guys start to think about strategy and trying to come in for the pits. But Jardier right there on the back of Pantera, currently in 3rd place, looking to try and pick up that second. He'll obviously be keen to try and get himself past and try and get himself onto the back of Wolf before Wolf gets a little bit more settled and starts to pull away once again. But obviously being at the front of the field, when it comes to the actual strategy, these guys tend to run with each other unless they start getting really feisty on track and know that they are actually losing time. Then they'll dive into the pit lane to get themselves that clear air, but otherwise it's kind of best just to kind of run with the pack in this kind of position. You can see Jardier fairly close to the back of Pantera, and Bo in the background as well, still pressuring Mr. Van Ormond.
Yep, I think this battle could could run for quite a while. Or these battles, I should say. As Jardier doing what he can to keep the pressure on Pantera. Now Wolf starting to get into his stride. He's got himself 1.2 seconds. Oh, Jardier just grounded that Mercedes a little bit over the rumble strip. He had to get out of that. That's going to cost him some crucial momentum. To see how close he's staying to the inside line. And Pantera, I think Pantera may have had a problem. May have had a little bit of a twitch coming through that final turn. Because suddenly...
Ooh. Jardier's got a slowdown penalty.
He's got a slowdown warning. Yeah, I just realised that because he's had to completely back out of that. Didn't fancy getting a penalty. That's throwing him back into the clutches of Van Ormond and Bo. So he's got to be very careful about that. But if previous laps are anything to go by, he could well close down the front, guys. Again, looking at the lap times, 18.2 from Wolf. I saw 18.1 on the board from Jardier, so that lap time is beatable. 19.1 for both Omen and Bo, so they may well be... Oops, that's a lot of tail from Bo there. They may well be holding each other up. 19.5 for the two Nissans. They're probably just kind of, keeping their own pace. They do seem to have broken away a little bit from Pegamin. You can see at the top of the shop. Then the two white and pink Lambos of Dor and Colonel McCoy are still pressuring on. I'm also keeping an eye on Benazili. He closed in a second on Colonel McCoy last time around, so he is pressing on to try and make up for lost time. But it does look like Wolf may well be started to do his traditional run off into the distance trick. But we will see as the laps continue to count down.
Yeah, it's kind of very much a kind of old Sebastian Vettel back in the Red Bull days where he qualifies very well and then starts to pull away. And actually, interestingly, Bo's not coming into the pit lane. He's not going to follow Mr. Van Orman in. So it was initially, I think he may have just been trying to pick up the slipstream as Mr. Van Orman comes into the pit stop to serve his mandatory stop that he needs to make into this race. So that puts Bo now up into 4th place, gives him the clean air to run his lap times. I think Mr. Van Orman may just be trying to cover Benazili, make sure that he gets ahead of him, get himself into that clean space, and then start running and not having to worry quite so much about Bo there immediately behind him. But interestingly, Pantera has gotten up onto the back of Wolf once again. Is that potentially another slowdown penalty?
Yep, he lost about 1.5 seconds there on Pantera, did Wolf. Just check his penalty count. It's still at 2.
2, yep.
So he's managed to overcome that, but that lead is just gone. So the loose cars, the nature of this track is not playing to Wolf's strength. So whilst he may well run off a little bit, as is quite clear to see, I don't think he's going to be insurmountable this time around. Now, where did our pit stoppers come out? Van Orman, 25 seconds behind leader. He was about 6 seconds behind leader at the point he came in. So I think we're looking at around about 20-ish seconds.
Yeah.
It's being a shorter pit lane, I think. That time he's not entirely accurate, as M-Power is the first of the Nissans to come in. That is an approximate guess. So I think we're certainly looking at 20 to 25, no more than. It rather depends on how bad the pit stop goes, I suppose. But we will see. But that's the figure I've got in my head. There you go. Look at the lap times. A full second Wolf lost on that last lap. Now starting to get back into the rhythm again. There's Jardier, who's, of course, broken away from Van Orman after his pit stop. But plenty of time to go, though. And, if even Wolf is making those little errors that's causing him to slow down, we saw Jardier have to completely back out of it. And he hasn't yet recovered the lost time he had from that slowdown he's had to serve. And anything is possible.
Yeah, obviously the little mistakes are a little bit costly, and Jardier had a pretty big one with running out wide a few laps ago, which got him that slowdown penalty. So he'll be looking to try and close back up to Pantera, who's just under 2 seconds up in front of him, but he's got a gap of over 2 seconds to Bo behind. And actually, interestingly, Wolf in the Beast Lamborghini is coming into the pit lane to serve his mandatory pit stop, and Jardier's got his windscreen wipers going for some strange reason.
I've just realised something.
What's this?
Wolf has lighter fuel. He's got 76 litres on the board. If we look at there's Inky Chris. He's another Lambo. He's got 84. I've seen someone with 95 litres, but they've probably gone through the pits already. The Wolf didn't take any. He's carrying less fuel.
He may have just actually calculated how much fuel you actually need to run the race, whereas others may not, and just kind of guesstimated and gone for a safer figure.
Yeah, dump the full tank in there, which...
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, nice defensive move then from Colonel McCoy. Oh, nicely done from Inky Chris. Timed that one perfectly well. Cuts underneath the Porsche. And, nearly a punch in the face there for Inky Chris, but no impact in between the two as the Lamborghini pair want to reunite. Oh, well defended then from Colonel McCoy. Got the drive he needed from the rainbow corner and fends off the Lamborghini for another lap. Pegamin is still on the back of Scott. We've seen one of the Nissans come in already. M-Power down to 11th now with his pit stop done. as Pantera now leads the way to Jardier's in, and in comes the second Nissan and the Lemon Lamborghini. Oh no, never mind.
No.
He's doing the same trick we saw earlier. So I'm surprised actually how many people are getting their pit stops done. I'm kind of used to people leaving the pit stop still very, very late, but vast majority of people are getting it done quick. Here comes Inky Chris and Conor McCoy again, as they've just gone up to 5th position. Oh, the Porsche's deep into the first turn. Can Inky Chris do anything about it? He jumps over the grass to try and get the traction he needs. Can't quite get it done. And the Porsche remains in 5th position at the moment. Where will Scott reappear? Oh, that is very close. Inky Chris trying to get alongside the Porsche once again, coming through the S-curves. And again, well defended from the Porsche. There is Wolf in the background. The last thing Wolf needs is to be caught up in someone else's fight. Chris and Conor McCoy are not obliged to let Wolf through. That is for position. Realistically, they may. You know who you're in a fight with, but they're not obliged to. There's no blue flags going on there, and they're involved in very, very tight scrap of their own. So Wolf could potentially lose some crucial time here. And also bearing in mind that Wolf is carrying that 2-second penalty. This could be quite crucial for the race result at the end.
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting to see how this one unfolds over the next lap or two. You see Wolf taking a slightly better line coming through the final turn. He'll be picking up the double slipstream from the guys in front. Inky Chris now actually diving into the pit lane to make his pit stop, although he got on the brakes a little bit early there, so quite a cautious approach. Wolf just kind of presented himself in the mirrors to Colonel McCoy, which forced him to go a little bit deep, even though Wolf was a good 8 to 10 car lengths back. Wasn't really in any position to kind of really threaten the position, but now he is right there looking to the inside. I'm sure Conor McCoy probably isn't going to defend this too much, although he is a little bit, but no, he's going to let him go as he comes into the chicane. You just lose so much time going side by side through there, as demonstrated by Inky Chris and Conor McCoy on the previous lap. So better to just let the race, effectively one of the drivers who was fighting for the race lead to go through, just kind of settle in behind them and hope to follow them a little bit and see if you can maintain a little bit of pace to get yourself ahead of other competitors. Conor McCoy going a little bit deep there, coming into that horseback corner.
Jardier's 8 seconds behind Wolf, so the pit stop phase has not gone well for the Hot Wheels Mercedes, unfortunately. So he's lost a considerable amount of time on the former race leader. So we'll see if he's able to close any of that back in. He would have really wanted Wolf to be held up more than he was, but didn't happen. There is Colonel McCoy peeling into the pits. Van Orman doesn't have to fight him. So
Jardier's lost the position to Mr. Van Orman.
Oh, yes, true. So Van Orman, and that's 5-second difference between the two. Oh, M-Power's now on the penalty board. What's he done? That's a 1-second penalty for the Nissan. Well, with how loose the car is, I'm really not surprised. He's done a little bit of lawn mowing. And, it's Conor McCoy must be one of the last people to come in. Most people, I think, have been through the pits by now. Pantera, I don't think he has. Pantera and Bo and Dor. I would imagine the top three at the moment have yet to go through the pits with a potential 20-ish second loss. Is Pantera going to come in this time?
I doubt it. I'd imagine that the top three will just run their race and basically just bang in their lap times. Well, actually, Bo's going to go ahead and prove me wrong. But yeah, I was going to say there doesn't really seem to be any real reason to try and make your pit stop now. You got yourself a lot of clear air, rather than kind of pressuring yourself of having cars physically around you on track. Rather just focus on getting good, consistent lap times in, and hoping that you're lapping better than your the people in the positions around you. So I imagine that's what Pantera will probably do. That's what I thought Bo was going to do, and then he decided to make his pit stop now, and he's come out behind Mr. Van Orman. Will he come out in front of Jardier though? That is the ultimate question, and there are the two drivers, and he does indeed. So Jardier now down to what is theoretically 5th position.
Indeed. That looked more like a 25 seconds kind of loss there as we were observing that. Yeah, Jardier has lost quite a bit of time. We don't know where that loss has happened, so a bit of a surprise there. But we will see how that pans out. He's still chasing the podium slots. There's Benazini in the background with Empower in his Nissan. So still lots of potential battles going on. Scott's got some company in Pagan Min in the Lemon Lamborghini. There's Chloe, see just not too far behind them. Some random trap is chasing Inky Chris. So still battles going on throughout the field. There is Colonel McCoy not too far off the back of the Porsche, of the McLaren rather, as they come down the hill as well. But Pantera is he's banging it and still lapping decent lap times, 18.8. You know, the sub 19 lap times coming in from the bright green Merc. So yeah, decent times to be had there as Wolf bungs in an 18.3. So once again, as we tend to see, he's absolutely pressing on like a madman to get back up to where he previously was. He's now closing in on Door, the white and pink Lamborghini. Again, like we saw when he was coming past others around him, well, Colonel McCoy in particular, he will do what he can to minimize the time lost. But he can probably afford a second or two so he doesn't do a dangerous move and potentially send him off into the dust. As some random tramp is on the penalty board as well. What's he got himself? He's got himself a second penalty as well. It just shows how easy it is. Oh, in the background, I saw at the top of the shot there, Jardier and Beau are quite close together now. Well, actually look closer than that at the top of the shot, but Jardier is definitely homing in on the Lamborghini. Again, you see how the tail of the Lambo getting very, very loose coming into that horseback corner. But Wolf is very close to Door. Now, he would want that white and pink Lambo to peel into the pits, and Door may well choose to do so now, just as so he's not in the way of the leader. No, he's not interested in doing that. So, again...
Alright guys, thank you for waiting for me. It looked like there were some problems with the stream compilation on YouTube, so yeah, we are now basically watching the stream from the Xbox side, which should be the right one. So yeah.
It's going to hurt him too badly. Did he add to his time penalty? No, he didn't. So he did manage to avoid it. That 2 seconds, of course, he's going to be a constant reminder. That message doesn't ever disappear once they get those additional time penalties on the board. Where is Pantera? What's he up to? Oh, he's gone on again. So again, he's not, and he's still punging in the Great Labs, 18.6 last time around. He's wanting to try and build up that gap as much as he can, but Wolf has been putting in some very, very phenomenal nuts. I don't think this, he had to make the move on Door this lap around, so let's see what he's done. An 18.6 as well, so this lap will be the one that's going to be telling of really what pace he's going to be running. Wow, Wolf using every available inch coming through the first couple of turns, and once again Wolf is absolutely flying.
Yep, it really is. One thing actually, never mind. Jardier is right on the back of Beau. I was going to say one thing that I noticed, was going to mention earlier with Door and Wolf's situation, I think, is Daw was intending on letting Wolf through on the start-finish straight. I was moving over to the right-hand side to basically let him go through on the let him go through on the racing line. However, with him being there and Wolf just sat in behind, was basically trying to pick up the slipstream, and that kind of led to the situation that they had going into the first turn. But Jardier now picking up the slipstream on Bo. Is he going to go for the lunge? He's looking for that inside line, but Bo just slams the door shut on Jardier as they came in towards the apex there. It's pretty close between the two of them. It's good driving by both drivers to avoid making contact there. Running really fine margins. But Jardier will be looking to get the good drive coming off of this corner, try and pick up the slipstream. He's got the tighter line. This is looking good for him as Bo is moving immediately across to defend that inside line, forcing Jardier to go the long way around. Jardier has got the run though and the legs over that Lamborghini. Jardier keeping Bo over to the right hand side, and Jardier is going to try and swoop round the outside, very close between the two, but Bo has still got his nose in there on the inside. A slight squeeze coming through that second turn, but Jardier is going to have the inside line for this turn 3. This could allow Bo to hold on to the position, but he's actually going for the switchback coming into the pin. Very, very close between the two, but Jardier just about managed to get the move done and dusted and up into that 5th position, taking it away from Bo. But a brilliant battle between those two drivers. Nice, fair and respectable, but very, very hard racing.
That was a bit of a clenching moment for our Bo there. Brilliantly driven by both of them. They were so close for several corners. That could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. But well done by both of them to execute that move and defend that position. Nicely done, Jardier, but your work is not yet done. Bo is a quick driver. Oh, wow, Bo absolutely launching the nose of the Lamborghini into the next corner. So he's going to chase as hard as he can. Probably he may well look to try and stay with the Mercedes, as it does look like Jardier's had just about the edge on pace over Bo so far, up to this point in the race. But look at Jardier; he's not confident on the Lamborghini not going for that inside move, despite the fact he's nearly 6/10 behind him. Jardier is still feeling the need to defend the inside line, returns to the racing line as quickly as he can. As again, Pantera getting 18.5, so his lap times are getting gradually quicker and quicker and quicker. So that's something else I'm keeping an eye on. Noticing earlier that Wolf had a lighter fuel amount. Let's see, Bo's on 73. 54. So that's quite a difference that Wolf has got from himself. I'm gonna see how much fuel he's got, how much fuel he uses in the lap. I'm gonna see if I can guess his math. In the background, you can see there is Daw and Van Ormond. So Van Ormond has cleared the white and pink Lamborghini. I think Daw's yet to come in the pits. Ooh, Van Ormond a little bit deep, coming through the horseback corner. So he's still fighting the tail of that Lamborghini. But Pantera doing a brilliant job of keeping the pace good and strong up front. He lost a few tenths on Wolf in that last lap, but he's certainly got it there to justify him being up front. At the moment, he's going to have to think about the pit stop sooner or later. I mean, technically, he doesn't have to do it until very close to the end of the race. He doesn't have to do it anywhere near now.
With
most
Wolf.
people,
Wolf, we need his fuel 53. There we go, coming through turn 2.
Okay, yeah. So 53.3. Yeah, you're quite right. I was in my usual way getting completely carried away with what I was talking about. So say 53.3 at the time he crossed the line. Near as damn it. Let's see what he's got when he comes back around again. Still around 22 and a bit seconds between Pantera and Wolf. It's slowly chipping away. But if Pantera doesn't serve that pit stop soon, he's going to have to kind of think about he's going to have to really think about that gap as it continues to grow. Of course, it's still got another 2 seconds to add on to that with the penalty that Wolf is carrying. I don't think anyone else has added them. Oh, Chloe's added herself to the board as well. And 11th. So, some random tramps made his penalty slightly bigger with a 3-second penalty now. So just to make his day even worse, Bo's still hanging on to the back of Jardier's. So only a 10th difference between the two.
Yeah, there's not really much in it. And thanks to Massbog in the chat just saying watch the voice levels and adjust those. So I have lowered mid decibels just a tiny little bit and moved my mic slightly further away from my mouth. I didn't want to adjust it too much, but thanks very much for that. But yeah, Wolf, ooh, nice, 18.6 there. the gap is still lurking in and around that 21, 22, well, high 21s, low 22 seconds mark between himself and Pantera at the moment. It's interesting actually seeing the track getting a little bit dirtier as well in various places through various corners. Both still there, keeping within a second to Jardier's. Both of them do a little bit of grass cutting on the outside. Pagan Min on the back of Empower, battle for 8th position. Interesting.
I reckon Wolf is cutting it really fine. He's using about 2 litres a lap with 51 on board and 25 laps to do. He is cutting that really, really fine. He better hope his maths is right, because he could have to do some fuel saving towards the end if that's if he loses any, if he has any real problems.
Interestingly, Pagan Min and also Door have also got similar fuel loads. Pagan Min, you can see there, is on
Door's
51.
even worse.
Yeah, Door's even lower. Which I did also note when we were trying to think about Wolf here as well. So, yeah, I think the drivers just doing their mathematical equations and stuff, working out their fuel loads, but obviously they've got to make sure that they're getting the right amount. It can be quite tricky sometimes to get an accurate fuel reading. Usually I used to do about 10 laps to try and get a good idea, whereas some drivers just like to try and do 2 or 3, but with that it tends to not get 100% accurate figure. It's either a little bit too conservative or potentially a little bit too, well, actually, yeah, it's usually too conservative. You end up taking too much or more than you actually need. But Bo fairly close to the back of Jardier still. The gap has now just crept over a second as Jardier is closing up onto the back of Door. So this could work potentially in Bo's favour, especially if Jardier gets held up a little bit. But Door and Pantera are still yet to make their mandatory pit stops.
Indeed, they have. They've got that to do at some point. Or, as we've seen, is happy to fight anybody. He didn't let Wolf just dance past him. So Jardier's going to have to make this one count on track, I would imagine. That we just saw going out of the shot was Van Olmen, who has added himself to the penalty board as well. 2 seconds for him, and 2 seconds for Bo as well. Yeah, I just spotted that. Jardier got a decent run. Oh, wrong car.
There we go.
He has. Is he going to make the move into turn 1? Yeah, he's got that one covered off. I would think Door's going to realise that one is long since done. Yep. Didn't try and defend that one. Through into 4th goes Jardier. And when the timings update, what's the gap between Jardier and Van Olmen? 31. So Pantera potentially is going to come out, or is likely to come out ahead of Jardier. So overall 4th for the Merc at the moment.
I think it's going to be very close between him and Wolf. I said earlier 25 seconds, and then we saw about 20 seconds with one of the other drivers that you picked up on. So with Wolf there being 22 seconds there or thereabouts, it's going to be very, very close between the two. I think the advantage will probably go in Wolf's favour, especially if Pantera does get held in the pit stop for whatever reason. It depends how quickly he stops in the box and how quickly they release him. But Bo now all over the back of Door as Jardier, as we saw, got through quite easily. I imagine that Bo is going to try and do the same coming down that start-finish straight and into turn 1. Door lifting a little bit more than Bo did. So Bo's trying to get that good tight run coming off the exit of the corner. He's got the slipstream. Both of them shifting at near identical times. This is a very nice shot of the rear bodywork and diffuser of the Lamborghini in front, and Bo looking to the inside. Door just breaks that a little bit earlier and allowed Bo to slide down the inside and take that position without really losing too much time. So good stuff there between the two drivers.
That's a battle for 12th. As some random tramp has got company from Mickey Chris. Conor McCoy is about 4 seconds off the back of these two. So we're still facing Chloe and Scott. Merc and the Nissan crossing the doors. Wow, Chloe had to go quite wide, or ended up going quite wide off of that first turn to avoid potential impact with the Nissan. But I saw they were getting close. Didn't think they were quite that close. It's through into 10th position for Scott then in the Nissan. Empower is about 10-ish seconds up the road, I think, from his teammate. So So the Nissan's now fairly spread out. And Wolf's lap time seemed to be fairly inconsistent. And, whoa! Well caught. As Chloe ran that touch too wide. And more traction being delivered to the outside wheel. That didn't really cost her any momentum. Look at that on the outside now. Off horseback corner. Stayed committed. Kept the foot down. And back up into 10th. That was very nicely driven. And although that was a little deep coming into the next couple of turns, so that may bite Chloe on the backside, but yeah, it looks like Scott just kind of, unless he had a slowdown or was too cautious, I don't think he just backed out of that completely.
I think that's just a difference in the two cars and difference in setup. The
Yes.
Nissan, a pretty big, monstrous looking thing, punches a pretty big hole in the air, and it's not really great on its aero efficiency. As we know, it's quite a loose car, as very nicely demonstrated there coming into turn 2 by Scott. It's probably running a bit more downforce than what the Mercedes is running, and also Chloe taking a few liberties with the track limits there, using those to full advantage, and just kind of ended up getting a decent run despite running out a little bit wide and almost losing the rear of the car coming onto that back straight. But yeah, very nice move around the outside to get up into 10th position. And who else do we have? Inky Chris and some random champ have actually now swapped positions. The random champ has managed to get himself up into 12th place now, ahead of the Lamborghini driver.
Oh, Pantera's got some back markers to deal with. He's cleared Colonel McCoy. You can see the red Porsche at the top of the shot. He's only lost a couple of tenths on this lap, so but a 19.7 from Pantera last time around has lost him another chunk of time off of Wolf. But of course, Wolf will have to clear back markers as well. Now the blue flag will be coming out for these guys, so they can't just kind of just stick to their line and wait for everybody else to pass them. And I'm assuming Pantera is going to be leaving his pit stop till the last. Stays close to the inside line of that final turn, and yep, staying very much away from the pit lane. And that is 26 laps done. 20 to go in this race, so over the halfway stage. 21 seconds near enough between Wolf and Pantera. Let's see what Wolf gets on the board.
He's got a penalty in this lap.
Oh dear. No,
he hasn't. Oh, okay.
He could have slowed down though.
I did see the thing jump up to 27 seconds, which made me think that it got a few second penalty.
The board's been jumping around at a certain point. It will do it again in a second. Yep, there he goes.
Yeah.
So the timing board has a few issues in certain spots. Actually, Van Ommen was quicker than Wolf. Wolf didn't have a good lap last time around, and it wasn't traffic related either, as Wolf hasn't caught the back of Colonel McCoy, and he's nowhere near it. So Wolf not getting such a good lap in last time around. Jardier was actually quickest of the top four. He's 30 seconds down from the leader, which will obviously change when Pantera pits. So, but the top guys... Oh, Pagan Min's just added himself to the penalty board. What did he get? 1? Yeah, 1. Oh, Chloe's up to 4.
Yep.
So another addition to the penalty board. And once again, it'll be easy to spot those that haven't got a penalty by the end of it, I'd have thought. And in that shot, you saw Jardier, Beau, Dor, and Benazili, and that's 9 seconds actually between the top and bottom of the shot. Pagan Min though is still, whoa, yeah, I'd say he's right with Ben Power. Very close. The battle for 8th position between the Nissan and the Lambo. Is the Lemon Lamborghini going to have a crack at M-Power as they come into the horseback corner? No, not quite. That must be very, very nervy. Yeah, they do have ABS in these. Well, they technically have traction control, but none of the top guys use it. That's very wide. That's going to hurt. That's going to put an end to that one. Or add to Pagan Min's penalties, I would have thought.
Yeah. So that's obviously going to cost him time and dropping back. One thing that was just also noting on the track map as well is that Pantera is getting pretty close to the back markers in front of him. It's roundabout now. I'd probably consider on this lap actually diving into the pits. He's 21.5 seconds to Wolf in front. If there's any chance of him being close and staying close, he's going to need to dive into the pits without trying to pass these guys on track, unless they're going to be very kind and move out of his way quite swiftly, but Pantera is still pressing on. 22 seconds. There's another 18.8 for Pantera. He's been lurking around the 1 minute 18.8, 18.7s. And Wolf, his previous lap time, as you can see, was 1 minute 19, but he's yet to come across the line on this lap. But it's around about now that the lap time is really going to start hurting Pantera, being in the dirty air, the cars in front of him. And a 19.1 by Wolf, so 3 times difference on the previous lap, but I imagine Pantera is going to lose a heap of time on this lap, stuck behind these two who are battling for position.
Yeah, flash of the lights there from Pantera, I think, as they came out of the rainbow corner. Correct use of lights from the Mercedes, but of course they won't want to relinquish any kind of time because they're involved in that fight for 12th position. It may only be 12th as far as they're concerned, but it is still a fight for position. It's still points. It is still a battle they are entitled to have, but they have got to obey blue flags. There goes Inky Chris, bleeding out of the throttle at the perfect time, so it doesn't cost him too much time. See what that's done to Pantera. I don't know that's going to lose him a great deal, or a little bit wide off that final turn. I would think the McLaren, yeah, the McLaren is pulled to the inside. He's probably going to bleed out of the throttle. Oh, a 19.5. Oh, Inky Chris trying to capitalise on the fact that the McLaren has had to get out of the throttle. And no, well defended from random trap there. So he hasn't lost the position, but Pantera, as is just the nature of racing, no one did anything wrong there. So he's lost a few tenths. But of course, Wolf will have to fight that same duo. We're 19.2, so again, Wolf is a bit off his own pace. That's curious, that.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised he only lost 3 attempts in that, and actually it was Inky Chris did a pretty good job of actually getting out the way at the right sort of time, so it kind of benefited him getting a slipstream coming down the start-finish straight and try and present himself with an opportunity to try and pass some random tramp into turn 1, but didn't quite work. We got Dorr coming into the pit lane to serve his pit stop, coming in from that 7th position that he currently holds. So Pantera now with the clearer air, would have had the slipstream on the beginning of this lap as well, so it may have aided him and benefited him in getting a little bit of a better lap time this time round. Again, not coming into the pit lane and coming across the start finish line, he's back down into the high 18s, so it'll be interesting to see what Wolf's lap time will be when he comes out of the final turn, and you can certainly see the dirt and dust starting to build up on the track now as well.
Indeed. As Wolf then over the crest from that final turn, he's had no traffic anywhere near him for quite a while. That's a 19.5, so he lost 6 tenths on Pantera last time around. I bet you he is a fuel saving. He's using now as an opportunity. He's got 6 seconds-ish back to Van Orman. I bet you he's backing off the fuel because he's got about 15 laps-ish at, using 2 litres a lap as a rough guide, and with 16 laps to go, I bet you anything he's fuel saving now. That's going. And what's Pantera got in the tank? Pantera's not much healthier, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Wolf's doing.
That's a pretty good call, actually, I'd say, because if he's doing it now and he's knowing that he's keeping the pace in and around to Pantera with that gap around 21-22 seconds, he knows that even if Pantera comes out in front of him, at least he'll be close. And if he does the fuel saving now, he doesn't have to worry about it later when actually fighting for position later on track. So providing that you can keep that pace and keep that gap in and around there, even though the gap is now actually, well, it flashed up for a split second up into 22.5 seconds. It's now gone to 28, but yeah, the board is it's bouncing around a little bit, but at times it does seem like he is creeping up. Like now it's gone up to 22.2, now it's going back down slightly again. It's just the ebbs and flows of the drivers kind of gaining and losing time a little bit on each other as they go around the track, but yeah, that may not be a bad shout, so it gives him a better position to actually try and fight Pantera once Pantera does actually come in for that mandatory stop.
And again, I know I keep mentioning it, but it's easy to forget that 2-second penalty is still there. It's not going to disappear. And those track limit penalties almost never get overturned by the stewards. So it's not one of these things that he can deal with unless he feels he had to either avoid an accident or he felt he was forced wide. We didn't see how it happened, but it's exceedingly it's generally unlikely that those penalties are reversed. So he's got to give an allowance for that as well. At the moment, it's very, very, very fine. It's going to be close.
Yeah, and well, he was out in the lead when he got that 2-second penalty, so I don't think he has any real excuse for picking that up, other than just a small, simple mistake. But yeah, Pantera with a mid 18 this time round. Wolf will be coming across the start-finish line next. There's the next car. There he is on screen. He's coming up over the crest, and his lap time is a 19.2, so 0.6 of a second difference there or thereabouts between the two of them on that previous lap. You can see the gap in those deltas is slowly and steadily increasing. Obviously, Wolf would be very much aware of that. He'll have the information up on his HUD to see where the drivers are and the gaps between them, so he'll know whether he's gaining or losing time. But I imagine, as you say, if he's doing a little bit of fuel saving, he'll be quite happy. Ooh, as Mr. Van Orman may not necessarily be so with the car getting that loose on him coming out the chicane. But yeah, I imagine he'll be quite happy just to keep that gap in and around there or thereabouts and do the fuel saving now, so he's got the opportunity to actually fight for the position on track when the pit stop phase is over.
Have I remembered the rule right? They have to do one complete racing lap post pit stop.
Yes.
I thought so. So Pantera can't just do a Schumacher and go into the pits as the checkered flag is waving.
No, he'll need to do it at the end of lap 45, beginning of lap 46.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that is, and drivers have done it too late before. They have gotten caught out by the rule. Not many, but there have been a few that have been caught out and been disqualified as a result, and that would be tragic for Pantera to fall to that, were that to happen. And another 0.6 between Wolf and Pantera is the gap difference. Also, Wolf is going to have to bear in mind that this man has been pressing on and just chipping away at the gap between the two cars. So another 0.4 back to, I mean, there's still 5 seconds there, so he would take, well, Wolf to fall off the road, really, for that gap to make any difference. And then the Merc behind has been really charging. Jardier has been putting in, mid to low 18s for lap on lap on lap on lap. So he's got enough fuel in there to deal with what's ahead of him. So Van Orman's going to have to worry about Jardier, I would think, before Wolf does. But if Wolf loses too much time, you never know.
Yep. An interesting one to see how that unfolds. And the gap is now 24 seconds between the two, so Pantera, in a way, is almost safe. Yeah. I think Wolf, I imagine he's recognised the situation and he's probably just now properly fuel saving. I think even if he was close with that 2-second penalty, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to get that 2-second gap to hold on to the race win. So he's now probably just trying to settle and consolidate second position by keeping that gap to Mr. Van Orman behind instead of worrying about Pantera in front, and obviously managing the fuel to get himself to the end.
Yeah, he's a wise old head on those shoulders. 19.4 for Wolf. As mentioned, he's got nothing to immediately worry about between himself and those around him. With, what have we got, 10 laps to go, 4 seconds between Van Orman and Wolf, less than 3 now between Van Orman and Jardier. So I'm looking forward to that battle kicking off in the closing stages. And still Pantera not looking to come in, as he's got one of the, is that Scott? Yep, that is Scott's Nissan already ahead. So Scott will be, I thought he was going to fall off the road there. He was going around it in third, so he's keeping his engine revs low. I'm not surprised. Keep the torque under control in that very skitty Nissan. Pagan Min has been on the tail or thereabouts of M-Power for ages now. I keep seeing the notification come up that they're close, and now they're very close. M-Power has had a problem somewhere, so he's now right in the clutches of Pagan Min. That's a battle for 7th. The Lemon Lambo has got some company there in the form of M-Power. M-Power is a very quick driver in anything he's in, so that's not going to be easy for Pagan Min, but that's a fight nonetheless.
Yep, definitely. It'll be interesting to see the performance difference between the two cars as well. We kind of saw it with Scott and Chloe, with the Nissan versus the Mercedes, and now this is Nissan versus Lamborghini. And here we come on to the start-finish straight. Empower just kind of moving across, trying to break the toe a little bit to Pagan Min, but isn't doing the weaving all the way down the start-finish straight, which is good. Pagan Min is following him through the dirty air, coming through the first couple of turns, which will probably upset the balance of the car slightly, but no real signs of really having to fight any understeer or oversteer in the wake of that Nissan at the moment. Gets a good run coming through the chicane, presents himself in the mirrors, coming into the next right-hander, and is very close there onto the rear bumper of that Nissan. He'll be looking to get a really good drive off there, but he was on the brakes just at the apex, although that is Empower out wide. That's going to hurt his traction coming down the start-finish straight, but the grunt of that Nissan is keeping the Lamborghini at bay. Pagan Min looking to the inside briefly, coming into the braking zone, but isn't going to be close enough. Does a little bit of dust grass cutting on the inside there at the apex before they continue on their way. Coming through the last couple of turns, you can see the dirt and the dust on the circuit. Drivers driving around, pulling that on with the Live Track 3.0 system. Now on the run coming out of the final turn. Could this be Pagan Min's chance coming into that first corner?
He's closer this time around. Just 2.5 seconds separates the Nissan and the Lamborghini. Down the hill as Pagan Min looks to the inside again and cannot get the drive he needs to. The Nissan getting twitchy once again in the braking zone. Coming through that first turn, through the turn 2, now turn 3. The Lambo's been quite strong in this particular section, but that Nissan being in the bits of track that Pagan Min wants to use. Over the dust again being kicked up by the Nissan. Through the S's there in the background, you can see Chloe. So whilst these two fight, Chloe could well capitalise on that and close into them. Although, even despite the fact they're fighting, they're still getting the sort of low 20s, high 19s. Chloe with a 19.3 last time around, so took a big chunk out of the gap between her and Pagan Min. And look how defensive Empower's gone. He's not confident that he can keep the Lamborghini behind as they come down the hill into the braking zone. And no, Pagan Min did not commit to the line. Oh, almost drawing side by side through the horseback corner. That would have been brave. But Pagan Min doing everything he can to pile the pressure onto that Nissan. Empower knows how to handle the pressure. But this is going to be it's going to take quite a big move, I think, from the Lamborghini. But he's been closer lap on lap on lap. Surely this is his opportunity.
Could very well be as they're coming out of that final turn. He's right there on that rear wing and rear bumper of the Nissan in front. There's a big sign there saying Nissan on the back, and now Pagan Min's going for that outside line. But Empower doing a good job of holding the inside, isn't going to allow that through. Although coming into turn 3, Pagan Min's going to have the much better line. He's going to be able to carry the momentum. That could be the switchback for the hairpin. Empower trying to come across to cover that. Both of them going a little bit deep there. Empower out very wide. Oh, a little bit of contact on the exit, but the two of them continue on. And Pagan Min is the one who has come out on top, taking that 7th position ahead of Empower. But I doubt Empower is going to give that one up too lightly, and will be looking to get a good drive coming off this corner to try and come back at him. But goes a little bit of wide there, dips the wheels out onto the grass. That is going to hurt the momentum, and I think that is going to be the position near enough done and dusted for Pagan Min, unless he goes and makes a mistake into the horseback corner, which he does not. So 7th position now for Pagan Min, Empower in 8th.
Well driven, got a little bit scrappy before they came through the S-curve, but it is now in the hands of the Lamborghini. Is Empower going to have anything here? Look at the gap, and considering how close the Lamborghini was last time around, and Pagan Min couldn't make the move into turn 1, I can't see that Empower, he's not even gaining as they come over the crest there. So that position very much in Pagan Min's hands now, unless, as you say, Yorkie, he bins it somewhere. This gap is continuing to rise up front.
Yeah.
But look at the gap here. It's 1.3 between the Lamborghini and the Merc. So Wolf's 2nd position is in trouble. What's his fuel amount? 13.2. Van Ommen is 18. Jardier is 15. And 18 on Pantera as well. So Wolf still feeling the need to back it off. But he may well just have to accept that Van Ommen's going to come past him. But we will see It's now very, very close between the two Lamborghinis. 18.6 for Pantera, 19.5 for Wolf, 18.8 for Van Omen, and 18.4 for Jardier. We could well have a three-way scrap for that second podium spot before the checkered flag falls. We have 7 laps to go.
Yep, I was just about to say Jardier is bringing himself very nicely into the picture here as well, banging in those hot lap times, closing that gap up to his old teammate, Mr. Van Omen, who's gone and lost it! No! He's gone and lost it there through the chicane into a half spin, managed to recover quite nicely, but that is the position handed to Jardier, so Jardier is now up into third. Jardier will be quite happy with that, to be fair. Obviously, being able to, well, being given that freebie, and he's now got the focus of Wolf in front of him. He will be able to see that Wolf has the 2-second penalty. It's only half a second that Jardier needs to get onto, well, needs to claw off Wolf's, the gap between the two of them in order to Jardier to pick up the second position here. And he could do it without actually passing or having to fight for the position with either two after that unfortunate mistake from Mr. Van Omen.
Van Omen will be kicking himself something awful as he's been reeling in Wolf lap on lap on lap on lap on lap, and just one momentary lapse of concentration pitches his Lamborghini into a half spin and lost him so much time. Still 2 seconds penalties for Wolf and Pantera, Wolf and Van Omen rather. So, you know, that on-track pass would have been absolutely legitimate. He still can do it. We've still got 6 laps to go, but it's going to be very, very hard work now for Van Omen to overhaul Wolf. Jardier is already within the 2-second gap. He needs to be gaining another 7/10 on Wolf last time around. And there's Conor McCoy. He's not likely to pose too much of a threat. So, you know, he very graciously got out of the way previously. Pantera still hasn't come in. He's leaving it to the very last. Let's hope he doesn't forget that he has to do the pit stop. That would be a bit of a shame. Oh, Chloe is close to Empire, I think. Or getting close. Yes, she is. So the Merc now closing in on the Nissan as Empower lost about 4/10. Chloe's been setting some pretty consistent low 19s for the last few laps now. So there's another battle forming there. As we tend to find in the GT3 leagues, the battles are forming in the closing stages of the race.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to try and keep an eye out for that one. So we're seeing Jardier now within a second of Wolf in front. No doubt that Wolf is lifting and coasting to try and extend the fuel for the remainder of the race. He's got, well, best part of 4 laps in order to get himself to the checkered flag. And we've got Conor McCoy up there in front of him in the that red Porsche 911. Conor McCoy is quite an experienced driver though in these AOR leagues, so no doubt he'll be getting out of the way on this back straight to allow these, well, certainly at least 2, maybe 3 drivers with Mr. Van Omen to go through without too much hassle. Although having said that, Wolf has just kind of sat there up alongside the Porsche 911, but he does get on the brakes earlier, allows Jardier to go through, and Jardier now half a second up onto the back of Wolf. So very close between the two. Do we reckon that Jardier is actually going to try and fight and take the position on track, or do we reckon that he is just going to settle in behind, stay within that 2 seconds, and just take the position through the penalty?
He might want to overtake Wolf and try and slow him down for Van Omen.
Yeah, old teammate, both drivers racing for ACR, and actually Jardier's got to slow down.
Penalty. Oh my goodness me. Well, wow. There went that idea. Jardier is going to have to press on like a complete lunatic now if he wants to gain that position from Wolf, because Van Omen, it doesn't look like he's going to give his fellow ACR branded inverted commas teammate any kind of leeway as they are fighting. Oh, and Bo is in.
He's crabbing.
Oh, that's not a happy looking Lambo.
No, that's crabbing.
So, oh, what a shame for Bo in 6th position to have to pit at this late stage. Is Pantera coming in? Oh, you haven't got long left, Pantera, to come in. 30 seconds now. Oh, 5 litres. Wolf can't do it. There's no way he's going to make 5 litres last 4 laps. Even lifting and coasting, no way.
He might be able to. It really depends on how much his fuel usage is per lap. I didn't actually catch that earlier on. But actually, Jardier is holding up Mr. Van Orman a fair amount. It's very, very close between the two. But Jardier, I think Jardier is very much marginal on fuel as well. As you can see, 6 litres, and Mr. Van Orman is closing up on Jardier pretty rapidly. He's got the inside line coming into turn 1. Will Jardier defend around the outside? Squeeze between the two. That may have been a little bit of panel rubbing there, but Jardier putting up a real hard defence to try and hold Mr. Van Orman, his old teammate, behind him. Jardier getting a little bit loose through turn 3. Mr. Van Orman will be very eager to try and get himself passing up onto that podium position. Jardier would be desperate to hold on to it and not allow him to get past, and obviously try and keep himself within that 2 seconds of Wolf in front. Actually, the two drivers are actually very, very close in terms of championship points. There's only 3 points between the two of them. Mr. Van Orman in second with 158, and Jardier with 155 in third place. So, championship battle here. Could be some tactics coming in. Pantera now comes in to serve his mandatory pit stop, but providing that all things go well and go to plan, he should come out with that race lead. And Wolf still there in second, Jardier third, and Mr. Van Orman in fourth. Doesn't seem to be quite close enough for the run coming out of this final turn.
Wolf is either going to crawl in the final laps, or he's going to have to come in for a splash and dash. I am not convinced he's going to be able to do it, but we will see. I've been wrong many, many times in the past when it comes to those predictions. And exactly as you said earlier, Yorkie, Jardier is not much better when it comes to the fuel, but crucially, he's back within that 2 second gap. And Wolf, if anything, he's picked up the pace again. He's doing a 19.5, 2.6 litres with 2.5 laps to go, with 1.5 laps rather to go.
That's very tight.
That's so tight. He's going to have to coast over the line. Drivers have been caught out by playing Russian roulette with their fuel tanks before. But we will see. Here comes Jardier and Van Orman. Once again, that battle for what is essentially, I'm fairly convinced is going to be the second part of the podium, is still raging on. Van Orman's got 1.5 seconds to close down to Wolf. Both of them carrying, let's just double check the penalty count again. Yeah, they're still carrying the same amount of penalties. Oh, wow, closed up to 6 seconds of penalties now. So Van Orman's going to have to clear Jardier or follow Jardier at very least. No, way too wide for Van Orman.
That's going to be a slowdown.
Almost certainly, yeah. That's going to absolutely ruin his chance of catching up to Wolf. So either Wolf runs out of fuel, falls off the road, or Jardier punches him in the face or something. As we've just lost someone from the race. We lost. Who came into the pits with a crabbing Lamborghini just now? Bo, yeah. Yeah, Bo has called it a day with only 1 lap to go, as we are on the lap 46 here at Sugo.
I think we need to jump to Wolf.
Yeah,
less than
right.
a litre. He is.
Oh my God, that's going to be interesting. But we'll watch from Van Orman. I know Dora and Scott are in a battle, but I think with all due respect, we'll keep on with this, because this is for the podium. Pantera is up and away. Pantera is this whole length of a straight ahead of them, so he's got nothing to worry about. Here comes Van Orman. Oh, there's Wolf. Look how slow he is. He's not even defending. He's going to lose the position to both of them. And there he is. Wolf has got... He's not going to make it.
No, he's not.
He's not going to make it because he's got uphill to do. He's out. That fuel tank is on 0. That's it. He's out of fuel. His engine is dead. Your winner in Sugo is Pantera. Second, barely. Well, it doesn't really matter because there's 2 seconds on Van Orman's car. It's going to be Jardier. Oh, they're still chasing each other over the line. So that's your podium. And there's Wolf. He didn't do it. I did say he wasn't going to do it. Oh, my goodness. By 2 corners. Oh, wow. Camera going mad. So Benazili takes the 4th place spot. Chloe is going to be in 5th position. Chloe's still some way down the line as Wolf's dot is actually going utterly nuts on my map.
Yep.
Scott's in the pits. So Scott was going to run out of fuel as well, but he's a lap down, so he didn't actually need to do that. It's not going to make any difference to him. Here comes Chloe then. with a strong, well, decent. I mean, a sixth position was a pretty decent score nonetheless, but obviously elevated to fifth with Wolf's miscalculation there. Empower comes across the line in sixth position. Here comes Pagan Min. Oh, Pagan Min's crawling. He's only got 0.3 of a litre left. How much does Jardier have left? 0.2. So yeah, his maths ever so slightly better. Here comes Random Tramp with the McLaren. He's going to take 8th. Inky Chris 9. And I think, Door ran out of fuel as well.
No.
In pretty much exactly the same place. Scott's in the pits. Kellen McCoy's already. It won't make a difference to them because they've already finished. Oh, what a finish. But what a... Pantera. Absolutely brilliant. Well done. You get my vote for driver of the day, sir.
Yep, flawless drive from our race winner. But yeah, as the chat is saying, what drama at the end there with people losing out to basically poor fuel calculations. So here is your...
Like 2 corners worth.
yeah, not much at all. So here is the final classification with Pantera in first, Jardier takes second, Mr. Van Orman in third, Benizili fourth, Empower in fifth, Chloe sixth, Pagan Min seventh position, Inky Chris in eighth, Some Random Tramp turns up in ninth place, 10th position, goes to Door, Scott in 11th, Colonel McCoy 12th, and what could have been for Wolf down in 13th position as a retiree for running out of tank, and then Bo would have come 14th, as I believe he did complete 90% of the race distance. But wow, that was a very, very interesting and fantastic way to finish off this round 6. I'm going to say a very big thank you for coming and joining in with the commentary as well, King Kodiak. I wasn't expecting you to come in and then, kind of popped out of the commentary box for a moment to grab a bottle of water and came back and found you sat there in the chair next to me.
I'm very glad I was able to join you, sir. What an incredible race that's been.
Yep, definitely was. But thank you very much for everybody turning up in the race chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. If you don't want to miss out on any future Apex Online Racing live streams, make sure to hit that subscribe button on the channel. If you enjoyed the coverage of today's race, a like would also be very much appreciated as well. But I think from us in the commentary box here, that is going to be it for this round 6. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully we shall catch you again next week. But in the meantime, have fun, stay safe, and take care. Hold your horses, don't leave yet. We got driver interviews. Pantera wants to come in for a chat, so we shall bring him back in. So it didn't actually end the live stream. The live stream is still going. So Pantera, our race winner, no doubt you are going to be absolutely ecstatic with that performance.
I am very happy. What a race! Hardest work. That was hard work. Trying to manage those tires, but. I had a few hairy moments, but kept it together, and I was consistent. I think that's what did it.
Yeah, definitely. You guys, you were pretty safe with the fuel. Were you kind of worried about Wolf's pace when in the whole strategy phase?
Yeah, he started catching me by about 0.2, 0.3 a lap, and I saw the gap start coming down. And then I just saw the gap start increasing again. I don't know if his car started letting him down, overheating the tires too bad or what. But then I saw the gap started opening up, and then had a little bit of a sigh of relief. So I could chill a bit. I didn't want to lose concentration and lose it. So
yeah,
actually, a very good day.
It actually turned out that Wolf was fuel saving, as he was very marginal on fuel, and in fact, he was so marginal on fuel that he didn't actually make it to the finish line at the end of the race. He ended up parking it at the final corner.
Yeah, funny enough, just before the race, I actually added about 2 or 3 laps worth of fuel. If I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't have made it. But I think I finished the race with about 6 liters left, so I was pretty safe. That's why I left my pit stop right to the end, so I could monitor the fuel. So if I did have to, do a splash and dash with my pit stop, then I could do that.
Yeah, very good. King Kodiak, did you have anything for our race winner?
Just to reiterate, not only were you consistent, you had no penalties on the board, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, no, I made sure to stay away from the curves.
You had this. Your fastest lap was quicker than Wolves, I'll add, and was second in the entire race. And not only were you consistent, but my God, you were quick. Brilliant stuff. Well done, Pantera. It was a great pleasure to commentate on the race.
Thank you very much. Hope to see you guys again on the top step.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be good to see you there fighting away. So thanks very much for tuning in. I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Not a problem.
Always good commentary from you guys.
Thank you very much. Go grab yourself a beer and
I'll do that. I might have a few.
Good man. Well, I'll let you head off. So thanks very much, mate.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Congratulations on your race win. We got one more driver. Mr. Van Orman, how are you feeling after that race? Was very, very tense there in those dying moments. You were there in second, and then you made an unfortunate mistake coming through the chicane. What happened?
You got it on.
Yeah, we saw it. Of course we did.
Yeah, it was a really nice race. After that, it was actually also very nice. It was super nice battles. So I was having the virtual timing battle with Jarde, you know. So I think it was gaining on me like 1/10 every lap. So I knew when I came close to Wolf that I had to make a move very quickly and then hope that Jarde would lose more time behind Wolf than I did, so that I could actually defend that 2 seconds. I just heard that Wolf had a problem with fuel as well, so he was driving on lean. I knew something was wrong with him, but yeah. But as soon as I got close, I was risking it, and the dirty air. Yeah, you know the story, right?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, it was good, strong performance though by yourself. You employed your usual strategy of pitting early and getting yourself into clear air, and trying to work your way through the field there. How was it battling with Jardy at the end?
Yeah, super nice. I knew that it was that no real meaning, so I was also cautious, but I hoped to to just get him on the line or something, just for the sake of being in front on track. But no, it was super nice race actually, because I figured it was going to be a little bit boring because we only had 14 drivers, but in the end it was actually a very nice race. So yeah, not too bad.
Good stuff. Well, congratulations on your 3rd position. And yeah, unless you had anything to say, King Kodiak?
No, great efforts. I did wonder, in those closing stages, we twigged that Wolf was saving fuel. I did wonder whether Jardier was going to aim to get ahead of Wolf and maybe slow him down to let you catch up again, but in the end, didn't need to.
No, I was hoping actually for him to let me pass again after I had the issue.
You know Jardier better than that.
yeah, but I thought he has me anyway because I have the 2 seconds penalty. Let's at least try. I wanted to try to get past Wolf and then clear. I just had to get past Wolf. He had just to stay within 2 seconds because indeed Wolf was saving fuel. So it would probably have been an easy pass on the straight. So, but yeah, I mean, Wolf had a much worse problem at the end of the last lap. So I don't even know if he finished. I don't think so, right?
No, he didn't.
Ah, that's a shame. Oh well, here's what it is.
Your concern is overflowing. Great job, Van Orman. It was a brilliant battle, particularly with Jardier towards the end. It was again, I thought, is Jardier going to let him through? And then bang, he shut the door on you. So old rivalries die hard. Great job, well done, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, no problem. Congratulations on 3rd place, and yeah, good luck. Shall let you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Oh, dude.
Right, 2nd time round, deja vu. This is going to be the end of the stream from myself and King Kodiak. Thank you very much for those hanging around there just in those last few moments for the driver interviews. And thank you very much for tuning into the live stream. We shall be back same time again next week on the 17th of July at 8 PM British summertime. And we will have coverage of round 7 from the Indianapolis Road Circuit. Now actually be a early morning race in game, so that one could be quite nice and pretty to look at. So make sure to tune in for that one. Once again, thank you very much for joining me, King Kodiak. You are, of course, more than welcome to come and join in again at any other point in the future when you have a spare evening.
It was a great pleasure to do so, and what an amazing race we were treated to. As Yorkie says, that is it for this evening. Come back to us next time, and I'm sure there will be much more action awaiting you lovely people joining us on the stream. Until then, thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.